As the school year draws to a close, excitement fills the air. But for some, the last day of school brings not happiness, yet dread. These 4 true stories will make you mull over praising that last chime. Turn down the lights and brace yourselves for a terrifying excursion into the unexplored world. Story 1. The Disappearance of Emma. Narrator. Emma was a bright, popular student, excited for the last day of school and the start of summer vacation. She waved goodbye to her friends and walked home as usual. But when she didn't arrive home by dinner time, her parents grew worried. They contacted her friends, but no one had seen her since school let out. A frantic search began, but Emma had vanished without a trace. Emma was a brilliant, well-known student, energized for the last day of school and the beginning of summer vacation. She said farewell to her companions and headed back home, not surprisingly. In any case, when she didn't get back by dinner time, her parents became stressed. They contacted her companions, however, nobody had seen her since school let out. A frantic inquiry started, yet Emma had disappeared suddenly. Her parents brushed the area, calling out to her, while police and volunteers scoured the nearby parks and roads. Banners with Emma's smiling face showed up on each lamppost and bulletin board, yet days transformed into weeks without any leads. The affectionate local area was shaken, lifting up Emma's family with help and supplications. Regardless of the overflow of help, hope started to fade. Emma's room stayed immaculate, an excruciating sign of her absence. Her disappearance left a void that nobody could fill, a getting-through secret that haunted every individual who knew her. Days transformed into weeks, and the town was grasped with dread. Flyers with Emma's smiling face were posted all over the place. The police followed each lead, yet tracked down nothing. Her parents were devastated, their lives perpetually different. Consistently, they hoped for a miracle, however, as time elapsed, hope diminished. Emma's disappearance turned into a chilling legend locally, a wake-up call for each youngster. Years later, a climber coincidentally found a shallow grave in the forest, concealed underneath long stretches of fallen leaves and garbage. The revelation uncovered the bleak destiny of the girl who never made it home on the last day of school. DNA tests affirmed it was Emma. The news old wounds from way back, sending shockwaves through the town. Her parents confronted the overwhelming truth, grappling with the conclusiveness of their misfortune. However, the mystery of her disappearance was settled. The agony of her absence waited, perpetually tormenting the town that had once been her home. Story 2. The Haunted Classroom. Narrator. Sarah and her companions chose to sneak back into school on the last day to celebrate their graduation with one last prank. They planned to leave a surprise in their old classroom, but as they entered the obscured lobbies, an uncomfortable inclination washed over them. The school was frightfully calm, and the air felt thick with fear. Their giggling and murmured plans repeated unfavorably as they advanced toward their classroom. Each squeak of the wood planks and far-off stir uplifted their tension. At the point when they arrived at the classroom, they found the door marginally slightly open, which struck them as odd. Pushing it open, they were welcomed by an unfilled, shadow-occupied room. Suddenly, the lights gleamed, and a chilling draft moved throughout the room. Sarah's heart pounded as she saw the blackboard, where a new hand had scribbled, "You should not be here." The companions traded apprehensive looks, understanding their prank had transformed into a night of startling dread. When they moved further, desk moved and continued all alone, and they heard murmurs that seemed to come from nowhere. The temperature dropped suddenly, and a chilly, spooky figure showed up before them. Frightened, they ran out of the building, leaving their prank incomplete. The following morning, the janitor tracked down the study hall in chaos, with messages scribbled on the walls warning them never to return. Chairs were overturned, books dispersed, and the blackboard canvassed in chilling expressions like, "Leave now," and "You are not welcomed." The janitor, a carefully prepared representative unshaken by most things, felt a shudder run down his spine as he overviewed the turbulent scene. He reported the incident to the head, who excused it as a student prank. However, he was unable to make sense of the unexpected frigidity that waited in the air. From that day on, the classroom was regarded with an air of superstition, a place where few dared to tread. Story 3. The Bus Ride Home. Jake had consistently despised the long bus ride home, but on the last day of school, it felt significantly really agitating. The bus took an alternate highway, one that drove through a dense woodland. Jake saw that the driver, a familiar man with a cool, expressionless face, appeared to be going further away from town. Panic set in as Jake acknowledged they were totally off kilter. He looked around at his fellow passengers, who appeared to be negligent of the diversion, talking and snickering as usual. The transcending trees outside developed thicker, shutting out the daylight and creating spooky shaded areas inside the bus. Jake's heart pounded as he stood up and moved toward the driver. "Where are we going?" he requested, his voice shaking. The driver didn't answer, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. Distress flooded through Jake. He turned to his companions, encouraging them to see the strange route. However, the unease had already settled in. As the bus dove further into the forest, Jake realized he needed to move quickly. He reached for his telephone, however, there was no signal. The ride that had once been a mundane routine was now a terrifying journey into the unknown. The bus stopped in the middle of nowhere, and the driver went to confront Jake, his eyes shining with an unnatural light. Jake's shouts reverberated through the forest as the doors shut behind him, fixing his destiny. The bus and its passengers were gone forever. Story 4. The Yearbook Curse narrator. On the last day of school, the students of Crestwood High anxiously marked each other's yearbooks, uninformed about the dark mystery concealed inside its pages. Legend had it that a previous student, who had died tragically a long time back, had cursed the yearbook. The individuals who marked a particular page would encounter a progression of mishaps. Jenna, a distrustful student, dismissed the revile and deliberately marked the reviled page. Almost immediately, peculiar things began occurring. She stumbled and tumbled down the stairs, barely staying away from serious injury. Her locker was strangely vandalized, and she started having startling bad dreams about the deceased student. Frantic to break the revile, Jenna tried to find the yearbook and remove the page. However, it had disappeared. The last evening of her school year finished with her escaping in dread, the cursed page following her, ensuring the curse could never be broken. These stories remind us that even the most joyful times can conceal the haziest, darkest secrets. As the school year finishes and summer starts, remember these stories and the chilling truth they uncover. Some of the time, the things we celebrate can also be the wellspring of our most profound apprehensions.